Hey, Claire. All right, so today we're going to talk a little about the crown and bridge tray. I guess we haven't got to go over that too much in class. Um, so, first off, a crown is basically a fake tooth that's going to go over the existing tooth or teeth. So, this is what it would look like. This is the tooth, the actual tooth in your mouth after it's ground down. And this would be the actual crown that goes over the prep part of your tooth. There you go. And it's gonna go over just like that. Get messed up. So that would be a crown, and this would be a bridge. Okay? A bridge is the two crowns connected with the fake tooth. That's gonna go on there. Which we'll get into the actual terms for that tomorrow in class. Have a lot for y'all to go over. All right. So first thing first, when it comes to the crown and bridge tray, what I've already told y'all, shade guide. Okay, you always want to start with the shade guide, even before the tooth has been touched, prepped, before it's in water. You go ahead and get the natural shade of the tooth. Okay, um, water can affect the actual color of a tooth. Prepping it will make it look a little whiter if the tooth is chalky after the prep, or vice versa. It can make it look a little darker. Okay, so always, always, number one step in the crown and bridge is going to be get your shade guide. So your shade guide runs from the whitest on the tooth spectrum to the darkest. Okay, not all shade guides are the same. This is actually a bleach shade guide. So the shades are a little different than most shade guides. But it's very close to a regular shade guide. Starts with the basically white out, which is like Hollywood white, back down to like a smoker's yellow, which is normally like a A3, A4, like a smoker's yellow, or like a coffee drinker's dark yellow. And to check the shade, you don't want to point any direct sunlight. I actually do it, but just not at first. Whenever I first take the shade, sorry, I just do it without any light to see. Okay, of course, this is not my shade because this is Hollywood white, and this camera make my teeth look a little darker. It's okay, but this is the shape of the actual tooth. So you don't want to place it in their mouth, but you do want it to cover up that tooth that you're trying to look at. Okay, and so you just keep doing it until you get the actual shade. In between, and I've noticed this the hard way. In between checking your shades, you're gonna want to take a break. Okay, you don't want to check two or three shades or more at a time because eventually all of the shades are gonna start looking alike if you're looking at them for too long. So you can either do two at a time, check. You see that these are way too white, put them up, wait a couple seconds or a couple minutes, preferably seconds though, depending on your office. And then check again, just go all the way down. What I do after every time I check my shade, I go get at least two other workers to come check their shades too. Okay. And notice I said check their shades because we might not see the same. Okay, so I might pick a shade, they might come in and be like, "Oh, you're way off," you know. So I will get my shade, I'll get two other worker shades, and then I will even let the patient pick a shade. I will show them which shades we all thought was the best, and then I'll let them choose from them. That way, it's not really us dictating their decisions in their mouth. Let them pick. You just kind of give them that jump start to picking. Because I mean, if you just throw this in somebody's face, you know, most likely they're gonna want to get the white, the whitest it can get. So go do your shades, get someone else to come over, take their shade, get another worker to come over, or get a doctor. Come look at the shade, and then you go ahead and let that patient check their own shade too. Because at the end of the day, you want the patient to be happy with it. It's not your tooth or your mouth. Yes, it's your work, or you're helping assist with the work, but at the end of the day, the patient has to live with it. Okay. If they want it white, you can try to talk them out of it. Like, hey, you're more down on this region of the two shade spectrum. You might want to stay away from this, unless you want to get your teeth bleached. Okay. So if they do want to jump to this for that crown, you want to go ahead and recommend that they get a bleaching before even getting a crown, because it's gonna look like a sore thumb if they have natural shade of this color, and then they go put a crown in this color. Okay. So yeah, you're gonna check your shade, make sure all of that is correct. So then the next thing that you really want to do is you want to kind of decipher what kind of crown you're gonna be doing. I'm sorry, what kind of temporary you're gonna be doing. Um, there are a couple of temporaries. There are you have aluminum temporaries, stent temporaries, alginate temporaries, polycarb temporaries, alginate, I said alginate. Clear, CAAPS, basically. CAPS, CAAPS. It's the clear crown form, and that's for like for the anterior front teeth. You have the aluminum, which that's the A. The first A is aluminum, or alginate, don't matter. We just always done aluminum first. Those are normally for your posterior teeth because they're going to be silver, of course. Um, the other A is alginate. That's what we use in the lab for the impressions. Poly, normally that. And then, of course, you have the stick. And as far as the alginate, the poly, and the stent, those can work for any of the teeth. Okay? But today we'll be using poly. So you want to get your temp material, which your dentist will pick this. They'll already have this decided the previous visit before they even come in for the temp crown. Okay. After you got your shade, you got your temporary material picked out, which it should have been picked out either the day before the patient comes in or during that morning huddle. Remember the morning huddles we talked about, the meetings in the morning? That will be the perfect time for you to go ahead and get information out like this. Okay, you want to be like, so what kind of temporary are we doing? Or maybe your office that you're going to work at only does one kind of temporary. It doesn't matter, just use that time to go ahead and get any questions out. So we're going to use the poly for today. The next step for your crown and bridge would be, actually, let's go back a step. Um, After you pick out your material, you want to, this is called bite registration material. It's literally called bite registration material. And I can almost bet you already know what you're gonna do with it. Okay? It is registration material that you're gonna bite into. Okay? So this is the Genie Bite brand, and it's actually mint flavor. Some of them have flavor, some of them don't. Doesn't really matter. It's not gonna be in there long at all. But what you do is just make believe I have this in this gun. Okay? So this is the bite registration that I'm using now. Just make believe. So it starts off with just a tray, and this is called a trip tray or a triple tray. And you will first, before you even start putting it in here, you always want to squeeze out a little at first, okay? I like to squeeze out at least half of this. That way you know it's not any residue water left over or any hard material that's left over. It'll all come out first. Plus, you want to use that to see how it's drying. Okay, so I always put some on just a tray wherever I'm doing the material at, or where I'm doing the procedure at, I'm sorry. Pour a little wherever I'm at, and then once you put this on that tray, you do not pick up. Okay, so you start squeezing and you keep it the tip in the tray the entire time. Once it's down, you don't want to squeeze and push, pull up, squeeze a little more, push. It's going to create all kind of bubbles, and the impression will be horrible every time. So once you put it in there, keep it down, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And basically, I like to make either a zigzag all the way down, or you can just go all the way around and just keep going all the way around until you have it completely filled. Once you have this side completely filled how you want it, flip it over quick. Same thing. Once you put it down, you do not pick it up. Okay? Zigzag all the way down or all the way around, however you want to do it. And whenever you have all of the material loaded in this tray, get the patient to open and bite into the tray and the bite registration material. Okay. Um, Now, before you even do this step, you always want to get them to try this out. That way, it's not anything new to them. So I always get them to actual bite on the empty tray. Okay, so you put it in, you put it exactly where you're gonna need it to be at, and you tell them to bite down. Okay, they might mess up a couple times, but that's kind of what you want. You want them to mess up, that way you can correct them, and they know exactly how to bite. Because I mean, you might think, okay, well, everybody knows how to bite, but they have to bite on their back teeth because that's the normal bite for their patient. Now, if their normal bite isn't on their back teeth, then you're still gonna have to do it. You know, not give them the bite on their back teeth, but you're gonna have to find out what's their natural bite. So that's why you go ahead and practice with them, tell them to bite, and then you want to look at everything, make sure everything's touching, everything's correct. If they're not doing it correct, then you have to literally just stay practicing with them until they can get it right. Because if they're not biting correct, the temporary crown is not gonna fit. And if it does fit, it's gonna mess up the occlusion. It's gonna be either too high, it could be off centered, anything could go wrong. So always give them the bite correct a couple times. Once you believe that they have it down packed, they know exactly how they're gonna bite, take this out. You don't really have to clean it, being that it's literally about to go back in their mouth. But what I do is I take the air gun and I get all of the moisture out. Okay. Any saliva that's on there, dry it as good as you can, and then that's when you come put your material in, and then you're actually going in. Okay. So once you put it in with the material, let it sit. You can check the material that's on the tray that you already pulled, that you already pushed out first. Once this material is dry, you know this material is dry. So then you can get them to open, and it will have their teeth impressions in this tray. Okay. Okay. Give them a bite. Check here. It's dry. You can even check here if you want. If you can stick a finger in there, if you have excess coming out the mouth, you can just fill on it the whole time. Okay. I also prefer to stay in the room the entire time this is happening. I will just hold my hand under their chin. That way they're not tempted to shake their head yes. They can shake their head no, but if they can feel you under there, they know they're not supposed to do it. And that's something you also need to do too. Before the procedure, you need to let them know, okay? I'm filling this up. Whenever I put it in your mouth, you cannot talk, you cannot make any sounds, nothing, okay? Even if you go, mm-hmm, you don't realize how much is moving in your mouth just by going, mm-hmm, mm-mm. And then you see you automatically want to move your head and you go, mm-hmm, mm-mm. It's human. It's human nature. So just tell them, no talking, no moving, don't make any sounds. don't. And I would literally say that to my patients. Don't, don't. Try not to shake your head up, down, side to side. Try not to move your teeth at all. Try not to even move your tongue because your tongue can hit the back side of the tray, the lingual side of the tray, and that can mess it up too. So you want this to be as perfect as you can, okay? And they might think, oh, it's too many rules, but at the end of the day, their caps is gonna, I'm sorry, their crown or their bridge will come out perfect every time. So we got the first impression. This is what this is called. We call it the first impression, and of course it's all blue. So you keep that to the side, okay? So you would go spray this off with your disinfectant. I'm sorry, disinfectant spray. Rinse it with water, and then I like to put it in a Ziploc bag with the patient's name on it, the date, the procedure that we're doing, and the tooth or teeth numbers that we are doing. Always. And then you're gonna keep this in your office, okay? Um, Please always label this because if the temporary crown comes off tomorrow, the patient is gonna come back to get it done. If you still have this, you don't have to do it over again, okay? You can literally get this straight back out and start from there. Okay, easy peasy. Okay, so after you take your first impression, now you're gonna want to prep the tooth. Prepping the tooth is what I was explaining y'all to the chiclet tooth. Okay, remember don't call it that in the office, but you're gonna prep it like a chiclet. You're gonna prep it to that, and the way you prep it to that is, so if this is the, let's just pretend this is the actual tooth. This isn't a crown anymore. This is the actual tooth that I'm gonna work on. So you get your high-speed handpiece and your burr block, which is not you, it'll be the dentist. So don't worry about that at all. But you need to know that you're gonna need your high-speed handpiece so you can have it ready already. So have your high-speed handpiece, have whatever burr your dentist prefers to use to prep. I'm just gonna put a football in there because it's one of the only things that are doing this one, and it don't either. Let's pretend it does. All right, so you have your burr in there, and you basically just go. Let me see if I can get a little closer, y'all. I'm sorry. So you're gonna, well, the dentist is gonna prep around the tooth all the way up until it looks like this, and then you're just gonna. I'm sorry. Just keep going around it until it's prepped to their desire. Okay. Okay. So now that the tooth is prepped with your high speed and your burr, next thing you're gonna do is retract the gums, which is the imminent, the actual cord, a dapping dish or a whale, and a cord packer, or you can use your Hollenbeck. Okay. Um, I don't have any cord, but I'll have some tomorrow. I have it in my bag, and I don't have it here on me right now. But I'll show y'all, which I've showed it to y'all before in class. But I'll bring it again, and we'll do a whole nother demonstration on it again. That way you can stay fresh on it. But you're gonna take a small little piece of string, of cord, and it's honestly not even. Sometimes it's not even thicker than the floss. So this is a good example. And sometimes it is stiff like this too. So good example. You're gonna put it into your well or your dapping dish, and then you're gonna take a couple drops of your Hemident. Now make sure you always have gloves on whenever you have Hemident. For one, it has a very foul odor, and two, it can burn you. It can burn if it's left on too long. So please always be safe around this. You have your cotton pliers. Sorry. You can either, with a sterile, fresh out the pack, cotton swab, you can either get your cord, dip it into the hemodent, bring it straight out, sit it in your dapping dish, or you can put it in the dapping dish first, put your cord in the dapping dish first, and then take a couple drops with a droplet and put it in there first. Okay? And that's actually called impregnating the cord. Now, me personally, I like to go ahead and impregnate the cord a little earlier before I actually need to do all of it, just so you don't have to rush and do all of that. Because it's not a long step, but it is kind of tedious. You want to go ahead and make sure you have enough cord to go around the tooth if the dentist wants to go around the whole tooth, which you're doing a crown. So you're gonna have to go around the entire tooth with the cord. So after I think that the cord has been impregnated long enough with the hemodent, then we're going to pack cord in the gum line around the prep tooth. Okay. So I'm not gonna be able to do it on this model, but again, we're gonna do this tomorrow in class again with y'all. But you'll just go around the entire prep, pushing the cord into the gingiva or into the gum line, in between the gum line and the tooth prep. And you're gonna do that all the way around. Okay. Front, mesial, distal, lingual. I said front, I'm sorry, facial. Okay. But of course, the cord is not going to be this long, y'all. It's not going to be this long. It's going to be long enough just to go around that tooth once. You don't even want it to double up. You want just enough cord to go around that prep one time. Okay. Okay, so we just packed our cord, and again, you're going to be using hemodent, your actual retractor cord, a dapper dish, and your cord packer or your Hollenbeck. Um, Another thing, before you pack your cord, you need to go talk to the dentist to see what size cord they're going to use, what they're going to want to use. This is a size 2, which is not in here, but that was a size 2. You have a size 0, you have double 0, you have triple 0, you have 2. I've even seen a 3 or 4 one time, can't remember which one. That was really thick, kind of like a yarn. Find out which one your dentist is going to want to use for that patient. Now, that might not be something that you can do in the morning for the morning huddle or your morning meeting. That's something that the dentist actually might want to look in the patient's mouth, okay, or actually do the prep first, because you kind of really don't know what size cord you're gonna need until after the prep. That's just my opinion. But I always just let the dentist go ahead and prep, and then while they're prepping, then I'll be like, "What size cord are you gonna need, doc?" Once they tell me what size cord, then I'll go ahead. I mean, they're prepping, so you can suction. You can go ahead and rip that off, get it in there. 9 times out of 10, once you become elder, you will be packing cord for your dentist. So it is something that you're gonna need to get comfortable with pretty fast, and it is a little intimidating because you are literally taking a piece of cord and you're pushing it into that gum line with the instrument. It looks painful, y'all. It is not. You have to remember in dentistry that patients are numb. Okay. What I do is before I start my prep, I'm sorry, not the prep. Before I start packing the cord around the prep, I go ahead and let them know. Okay, this is not gonna hurt, but you will feel slight pressure. Okay, let them know that they're gonna feel pressure, but they're not gonna feel pain, y'all. They're numb. So don't let that scare you, because that is literally one of the biggest things in dental that everybody's afraid to do. It's pack cord. Even if they does hurt them, even if packing it hurts them, I always tell my patients, if I'm sitting on the right side of them, I'll let them know. I'm gonna start packing the cord into your gum lines, okay? It should not hurt you, but you might feel a little pressure. If at any time you do not feel comfortable or you feel pain, raise your left hand. If I'm on the right side packing, I will say that, but flip the words around, okay? Just let them know if they are hurting, raise their right hand, okay? Because you don't want them to hit you while you're packing cord into their gums. So just let them know they can tell you when they're hurting. Just raise the hand. Just don't raise the hand that could hit me, because if you hit me, I could hurt you severely. And we don't want that at all. We're here to help, not to hurt them. So after you pack your cord around the prep, you're gonna take what they call a final impression. Okay. Again, strip tray or triple tray, however you want to call it. And I say that, but it's different kind of trays. You have anterior tray, triple tray, um, a quad tray. It's a couple different ones, but they work for different sides of the mouth. So, for instance, this is a triple tray. You can use it for posterior, or you can even bring it up a little more. Okay. I have used one for the anterior one time. Didn't come out good at all. So, and 9 times out of 10, it will tell you on the box what to use this for, which teeth you can use it for. Okay. So just go by what the box tells you. Simple as that. But this is going to be for my molars, basically. Triple tray is for molars. So again, for your final impression, you're gonna get another tray. No matter which tray you're using, go ahead and get your other tray. You're also gonna need light body, and it's actually called light body. It's too blurry, sorry. But it says right there in green and white, light body. So you're gonna get light body, and you're also gonna get either heavy body, medium body. It's all based on again the doctor's preference. Most doctors that I've worked with love heavy body. Okay. So on this part, again, believe just make believe that these are in the guns. Okay. So I have a light body in this gun, and in this gun, I have heavy body or the medium body. Okay. So this is going to be a two-part step, but it's happening at the same time. Okay. And this is where you and your dentist have to be spot on with each other. Okay, y'all have to communicate on this part. So when it comes down to the final impression, I'm gonna have the heavy body or the medium body. The dentist will always have the light body. Okay, so while I'm filling up the tray, first, sorry, let me back up. So when your dentists get ready, y'all talking to each other, you let them know, hey, are you ready? Yes. Are you ready? Yes. One, two, three, go. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze on the table, get that excess out, and then you go ahead and start loading that baby up. Around the time that you come around and start filling up the backside, the dentist will have the light body and will actually be going around the prep with the light body. Okay. And it's gonna go everywhere. It's fine. It's gonna get a little messy because they gonna have to have the light body around the entire prep. So they gonna put it mesial, they're gonna go all the way lingual, come back distal, and they're gonna put it all around there. As soon as they finish, as soon as the dentist finishes with the light body, you should be either finished by a couple seconds loading this or finishing up right then and there. Okay, because it's a fast process. They both set around 2.5, 3 minutes. And then they have fast sets. Fast sets can sit in between a minute to a minute and a half. So it's a very fast process that You guys really, y'all gonna have to be iron out with your dentist on this part. So again, the dental assistant is doing the medium or the heavy body into their tray, while the dentist is putting the light body around the prep tooth. As soon as you finish, you hand this to the dentist, and it's not just a handoff. You have to remember, this is full of material. So even when you're loading it, you're gonna want to hold it a certain way. Okay. So for me, I find it easier to put the tray in the mouth holding the longer part. Okay. So if your dentist finds it easier to hold the longer part to put it into the mouth, then you need to hold the little part while you're loading it up. Okay. So I hold the small end, load it up real good into there, put that baby in there, get them to bite. Let's just pretend this is the quick set. So let them bite for a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Once you're done, and it's gonna be just like an alginate material. You're gonna have to pop it off a little bit and then pop the bottom out. Once you do that, it's gonna come out like this, and voila. So the blue in this instant is the medium slash heavy body. The green is the light body that the dentist is gonna have to do. Okay. They will always be two separate colors because you really want to see them. Okay. Now notice you don't have it on the bottom. That's because you are only putting it on that prep tooth. Okay. You're not putting it everywhere. You just want it on the prep tooth. And the reason being is you want to get every single little crack, crevice, pit, fissure of the prep. Okay, that way everything is as snug as it can go. Everything fits like a glove. So the green again is the light body that the dentist would be doing, and the blue is what you're going to be doing, which is either going to be your heavy body or your medium body. So once you pop that final impression out, again, you go sterilize it with your disinfectant spray. And spray down with water, clean it really good. Dry it off with your air water tip. Again, put this in another Ziploc bag. Name of the patient, the date of today's date, the procedure that you're doing, and the tooth or teeth number that you're doing on the patient. Okay? Write that on the Ziploc bag, put it in the Ziploc bag. This is gonna get mailed off. Okay? If you work at an office that does not make the crowns, because this is for the actual crown. Okay, this isn't for the temporary crown. The final impression is for the actual crown. Okay, so if you guys are not gonna work at an office that makes crowns in office, which is very hard to find an office that makes crowns in office, you're gonna have to send this off. You don't know what you're sending to. You can send it to Las Vegas. You can be sending it to California, Florida, New Orleans. So you want as much information on that baggie as possible. Okay. Again, you put it in the Ziploc bag, label it as good as you can, and then you're gonna ship it in a box. Ship it to the lab. They'll send it back in about 2 to 3 weeks whenever the process is finished. Um, let's see. After we mail this off, you want to go back to the bite registration. Same thing we used earlier, which is the blue bite. What you're gonna do with this is first pretend like it's in this gun again. Sorry, y'all. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna start and you're gonna go around the entire arch. Okay, with your blue bite all the way around. Some dentists want you to go all the way around, and then some dentists only want you to do the prep tooth and then a couple teeth on the side of the prep tooth. Okay, so basically it'll be 5 teeth. It'll be these two, the actual prep tooth, and then these two. That's something you'd have to go ahead and discuss with your dentist before you do it, or the dentist might do it on their own. Most likely, when you become an adult, you will be doing this by yourself. So always check with your dentist to see, hey, do you want me to do a full arch for the blue bite, or do you want just the prep and couple teeth on both sides? This instant, we're just gonna do the whole arch. We're just gonna go all the way around, and you're literally just spraying the blue bite or the bite registration all the way around, and then you just want them to simply bite normal. And this is another thing that you're gonna want, even though you've already practiced biting with that tray, you gotta remember their mouth has been open for a long time. Okay, their jaws could be hurting, and they could just be sleepy and can't really comprehend how to bite because they're so tired. Anything can happen. So always practice that bite again before you even do the bite registration with the blue bite. Go ahead and practice that bite again. Make sure that bite is correct. Put all your material down. Get them to close. No talking. No none of that. Okay. So you get them to close for another minute and a half, 2 minutes for it to sit. You're gonna open and it's gonna be a little, it's gonna pop just like it would a regular impression. And you're gonna take that off, and it's just gonna be a little flat. Look like gum. It's gonna look like somebody put gum on their teeth at the bottom, baking good, and just took it out and let it dry. That's what it's gonna look like, and that's perfect. That's what you want. Um, I just lost my train of thought, y'all. I'm sorry. Blue bite. Okay. Once you take your blue bite out, again, you're gonna go clean that really good. So you're gonna spray it with your disinfectant spray. You're gonna rinse it really well with your water. Me personally, I would either put it back in this bag. Okay. Whatever dentist you work for, they might want you to separate them, put them in two separate bags. But I clean them both. I've disinfected both of them, so I just put them both in the same bag to ship off to the lab. That way, they don't have to worry about opening two separate bags, or just try not to confuse them. Like maybe if they see two bags, they think you're working on two different procedures. I don't know. So I just go ahead and put them both in the bag. But that's something else that's for you and your dentist to discuss. Um, but yeah, yeah, take the blue bite out, clean it really well, put it in the bag, ship that off to the lab too. Now, fun part is making them temporary, and that's gonna be our job whenever you become editor. So you already have the original first impression. Remember, this was the first one we did. It was after you checked the shade, after you picked out what kind of temp, and you did it. And then after that, you prep. Okay. Now we're gonna actually use, and this is called temporary crown and bridge material. Like it tells you what it is. So it's not like you have to go rummaging around for material. No. Most of the materials that you're gonna use, it is going to have this. It's gonna have the actual name on it. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna clean the tube, not like clean, but just sorry. Make sure it's kind of dry, not super dry, but make sure it's like not any blood. I'll say that, not any blood or debris on it because it can stain this really bad. Okay, so you will go to the tube that you plan on prepping, or that you did prep, and that you're gonna make a temporary crown for. Again, once you put that tip into that tube and you start squeezing it, do not pull up and down, don't pull out, put it back in. Squeeze some material on your area, that way you know when it's set. Then you load it into the tray like this. I'm just showing it to y'all for purposes, classroom purposes, okay? But you're gonna have it like this, fill it up. Once you have all of the material in there, you're gonna bite again. And again, no moving, no talking, no moving your tongue. And you still gonna want to practice that again too. Even though you just practiced it with the blue bite, just practice it again because you gotta realize you did this earlier, okay? And this isn't like the rest of them. The rest of them, they just gotta fight. Okay. This one you have to get your teeth perfect in every single tooth hole. So you definitely gonna want to practice this one a couple of times. Easiest way I found of doing this is before I tell them to bite, I don't just put it in their mouth and say bite. I will go to the back of that last tooth. I will put it on just a part of the last tooth first, set it into place. I'm sorry, y'all. Like that. Set it into place with the lower arch, and then I get them to bite. Okay. So you try that a couple times, make sure everything is correct. Once you think they got the gist of it, they're biting correct, take it out. You don't have to rinse it again. It's for that patient. Just spray it really dry with your air tip, and then you let the patient know, all right, I'm gonna start making your temporary crown. I'm gonna put the material in here, just explain everything to them so they kind of know what to look for. So tell them, I'm placing the material into the tray. Okay, go ahead and swallow all your spit. Go ahead and do what you need to do because whenever I put this in, you cannot move for at least 2 minutes. So the area, put in the tube, get it lined up with that bottom, you can bite. It's bit correct, okay? So now you're gonna let it sit for about 2 minutes. Uh, it's normally about a minute and a half to 2 minutes. Okay. But that's what you have it on your station for. Keep checking it. Once the material isn't sticky anymore, it's set. It'll be hard and it'll kind of be a little smooth, smoother than any other material most likely. All right. So after that, the temporary crown will either be stuck on the tooth already, or it'll be stuck in the tray. Okay. Either way, don't freak out. It's gonna be okay. So for the first instance, let's say that it's stuck in this tray. So you put the material in, you got them to bite, they get correct, you get them to open, and the crown is stuck. The temporary crown is stuck in the tray. Okay? What you do is you either get you an Explorer, or you can either get something that's a little more blunt, like a Port Packer or the Holomatic. And you're gonna want to go around the tip. Let's see. So this isn't the actual temporary. I'm just showing you guys what it would look like. And let's just pretend, okay? So it's stuck in there. That's what it'll look like if it's stuck. So what you're gonna want to do is take either an Explorer and not pop it out because it's kind of weak, okay? You're just gonna want to go around and loosen it up all the way around first, all the way around, and then see if you can raise it up. I never really use the actual tip of the Explorer if I do use Explorer. I kind of just go around it first, and whenever I'm going to pull it out, I kind of use the hook to see if I can pull it out. Sorry. Or you can use another instrument, like I said, something a little more blunt, and just go around. That way, you don't have to worry about cutting it or scratching up any. But you get it loose, and then it'll pop out, and it will have the same indentions, the same pits and fissures that you had in the actual tray. Okay. So once you get the temporary out, you're gonna have to put it on the tooth, and it's not just gonna sit on the tooth. It might be snug enough, but it's not gonna stay. Once they get to eating, talking, their tongue gets to moving, it's gonna fly. So you're gonna need what's called temporary cement, temporary glue, temporary cement, whatever your office calls it. Most of the time, it's just called temporary cement though. It'll either be a two-part, like a dical that you mix together, or it will be just an actual temporary bond. Okay. But let's say for this instant, let's use dical since y'all already know about dical. You do the same thing, okay? For the even size of both of your two parts, your catalyst and your base, little pea size, both of them really small. Mix it real good together, and you're gonna load it into the actual crown. Okay. Once you got it loaded really good, and you're gonna place it on the tooth. I've seen people actually bite on cotton rolls whenever they're doing the temporary cement. I'm always afraid of it just because the patient is numb and they kind of don't know how much force they're putting on it. So you don't want them to be biting hard, on the cotton roll and then they break you. Okay. So I kind of just hold it a little while it's drying. Once it dries, you're gonna wanna take either Scalar or the Explorer. I've kind of found that the Scalar is better because the Scalar is made to scale the teeth, to scale anything off of the tooth that's not supposed to be on there. Explorer is really just for probing in a way. So I would use the actual scaler, but I didn't bring one in here, so let's just pretend this is the scaler. So you're gonna go into the gingiva to make sure everything is smooth as possible, okay? Back up a step, y'all. I'm so sorry. Before, before you let that patient leave, you need to pull your cord out. I just forgot that step. I'm sorry. So let's backtrack a little bit. I just put the cement on the actual crown. So once it sets up, you're gonna want to go into the gum line with the Explorer, not the Scaler. The Scaler is too big and it will shred the gums. Okay. You want to get the Explorer because you're gonna have to dig down in there honestly to get it out. And you're gonna go into the gum line, go into the gingiva, pull your cord out. Okay. That too is gonna be a little scary, a little tricky at first. Don't worry, they're numb. They can't feel it. No matter if you start seeing blood or not, it's not hurting them. But if it's too much for you, ask another assistant to do it or go ask your doctor to come do it. Okay, so you got your cord out of the tooth. Now you're gonna get your Explorer. I'm sorry, now you're gonna get your scaler and you're gonna go back and clean the margins off. Okay. So basically you don't want anything rough around the gum line because then that's gonna bother the tongue. And then you definitely don't want anything under the gum line rough because it's gonna irritate the gum so bad that it's gonna swell up. You might get abscess, you might get infection. So you don't want that. So just go ahead and clean up all the way around that tooth with that scaler, really good. Go under the gum lines just a tad, not too deep, because you're not trying to cut them really. And just make sure all of the temporary crown margins are basically flush. No sharp spots, no rough spots. Um, so now let's pretend like let's go back a step. Well, let's go back a couple steps. Now we're gonna start back from here. We've already put the temporary material into the tray. They've already been biting down for a minute and a half to 2 minutes. So we open up and the temp crown's already stuck on the tooth. We don't even need any temp cement. Fine. Even better for you. So now you get your scaler. Nope, I'm sorry. You take your Explorer, you go and you fish out that cord. Make sure you get the entire cord out too, y'all. It will set up infection if you leave cord. Make sure all of the cord is out. And you get your scaler. And again, you do the same thing. Going around the margin to make sure everything is smooth as possible. You want facial, you want your mesial, you want your distal, and you definitely want your lingual. Because they are going to be playing with any kind of imperfection. They will know. The tongue can the tongue can detect the smallest little change in your mouth. Okay. So they will play with it enough to actually pop it off if you have anything rough on there. So just try to make it as smooth as you can. And like I say, if it is too scary for you in the beginning, or it's too much for you, or if you actually try it, you can't get it. Because in the beginning, I would be in there fishing for 5, 10 minutes trying to get that cord out, and I just couldn't. I could see it, but I couldn't grab it. That's okay, y'all. Go talk to someone that can help you. Okay. You either ask another assistant first, that way you don't have to bother the dentist. If none of the other assistants are available to help you, then you can go tell your dentist, hey, I couldn't get the cord out, so I left it in. I put some gauze in their mouth. That way they don't have blood everywhere. And I just need for you to just come back over and actually take the cord out before we finish. But if you did not take that cord out, do not let them finish. Don't let them finish anything. Because if they walk out, if the patient walks out of the office with that cord, they're probably going to be calling you within a day or two, telling you, oh, something's wrong. It's a lot of swelling. I'm having pus coming out. There's an odor. That's the gums getting infected solely off of you leaving that in there. Okay, you leaving the cord in there too long. Um, but yeah, once you finish cleaning everything, take you some floss through real good, make sure everything's good. You always want to make sure the contact is good. If you cannot get floss in there, you might want to start over. Um, and I know it's just a temporary crown, but that can do a lot of harm to you. Because if you can't go all the way up, then 9 times out of 10, there's probably something sharp up in there that's stopping it from going up. Something rough or something sharp. So make sure if you cannot get the floss to go all the way up and down, whether it's mesial, distal, go tell your dentist, and then they will either file it down a little bit. They might actually pop the temp off to file, or not really file, but to smooth your mesials and your distals a little more. Or they have what they call polishing strips, and it's like a little bitty thin piece of sandpaper. It's no wider than this, and it's just like sandpaper. You put it in between your margins or in between your teeth, like floss, and you just sanding it. You're sanding it to smooth it, and you're sanding it to open up your margins a little. Flip it over on the other side, do your medial, do your distal, try it again. And you don't have to take a lot off at a time. Okay, just take just enough off. Try your floss. If that floss can go in and out after the first time you adjusted it, leave it alone. Okay. If you adjusted it and it's not going up and down, then you can just go ahead and get that little finishing strip again. Take a little more off. And you don't have to take both sides off, just whichever side isn't getting good contact. So if you're getting great contact with your mesial, don't adjust your mesial. Because then you might mess that up. If you're not getting anything on that distal, then you want to just that distal, okay? What else? We've cleaned, we've scaled and flaws. After that, just get your mirror, show them what the teeth look like. I try to, before showing them, and I am just a little extra when it comes to dental, as y'all know, but I like to just get a little toothbrush, and I don't clean the entire tooth, with the entire mouth, but I'll clean that tooth off. Only because of the product that we're using. It's not always, a honey bun. It's not gonna taste too well. So just kind of knock that little taste out. That way they feel normal. Because I feel like if they can taste that it's something artificial in their mouth, they're gonna always be worried about it. They're gonna always be playing with it, and that's giving them more opportunity to find a flaw. Oh, such and such, blah blah blah. This is going on. No, trying to get that flavor out by brushing it really well, rinsing them, show them that mirror, ask them say anything about it they don't like. If it is, then again, go get your dentist so y'all can talk about it. And most likely you won't get a chance to fix it that day, but that is a better chance for you to go ahead and get them on the schedule to get them back sooner to fix it. Most dentists, honestly though, once they do the temporary crown, if the patient don't like it, most of them will not change it unless it's like they don't like the color. Okay, if they don't like the color, a dentist is going to change that because that person has to go to work, that person has to be around family, and smiles are everything, y'all. People love their smiles. I mean, that's why they come to us. We gotta help them with it. Um, just talk to your dentist about it if they don't like it, and that's kind of it, y'all. And this was the crown and bridge tray. Um, of course, we're definitely gonna go over this again tomorrow. I don't know if we're gonna get complete hands-on because I don't want to use all of the material, being that we can't really order anything right now. Everything's on back order because of COVID-19. So we might not use this, but I will get to show y'all step one, step two, step three without actually using it. So tonight, you guys look over there. Let's see. Don't worry about it. We'll just go over it tomorrow. Just let me know if y'all have any questions on crown and bridge trays, and if y'all do, well, I can't say do because I'm gonna help y'all anyway. But yeah, just let me know if y'all have any questions with the crown and bridge tray, and I will see y'all tomorrow. I hope y'all have a great night, and y'all go do y'all homework. All right.